It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Of our Lieutenant Governor on, Tim Griffin. He joins us now on the phone. I wanted to get his response to, this specific concept of what's going on with this medical marijuana. Tim, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning to you. It's always great to have you on. So, Tim, tell us. I just want to get your take. Feel free to go. What are your thoughts on this?
Let's do a reset first. Marijuana is a federally controlled substance. And so it is not legal in Arkansas. Medical marijuana is not legal in Arkansas. And what folks, and look, I understand because I hear from folks who want medical marijuana. I've heard for years from folks who want recreational. I hear all that, but I just want to sort of remind folks that states do not have the power to declare a substance that's on the federal schedule that is a federal felony. States do not have the power to change federal law. And so you could pick any issue. We fought a war over this, over 150 years ago. I mean, there's something called the Supremacy Clause, and when federal law conflicts with state law is completely invalid. So for folks who are venturing into this world, trying to do some business in that world or whatever, I just tell them, I just remind them, I say, look, just a reminder, it is not legal in Arkansas to do any of this because it is illegal. It violates federal law. Yes, we passed something. The people passed a ballot measure. That is in fact true. But we also passed years ago a ballot measure, not that many years ago, but years ago, a ballot measure on same-sex marriage. 75%, I think, of Arkansans voted no on same-sex marriage. Well, is that valid? Well, no, it's not valid. Well, why isn't it valid? Because it conflicts with federal court decision. Federal court decision says it's not valid. So when folks say what's now legal, there is the ballot measure really, and I'm speaking as a former federal prosecutor, the ballot measure did nothing to change the legality of marijuana. Now, this is not an opinion. It's not I'm for it, I'm against it. This is just a fact. It's just a fact. People are being arrested and sent to prison, federal prison, for distribution of marijuana. Now, I understand it may not be medical, but it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter in the federal Fed's eyes. That's why we have this process, Paul. That's why we have this sort of make-do process. Why? Well, because you can't go through the normal process, which would be the market. Just like, do we do this with cotton, Paul?
No, we don't.
Do we do this with cotton? Do we do this with rice? Okay, well, let's talk about why. Why don't we do this with cotton and rice? Because cotton and rice are legal in Arkansas, and now medical marijuana is legal in Arkansas. Why don't we do this with cotton and rice? Because cotton and rice are not controlled substances under federal law. And other drugs, we don't do this because they are licensed to be prescribed at pharmacies. This is not. This is still. Now, There are derivative drugs, and I've talked with pain management doctors and others. There are derivative drugs under federal law that are okay through pharmacies. Pharmacies, are licensed, have DEA certifications and what have you. This unique process is because it is still against the law federally, and that's something. Now, let me mention this too, and this is one reason that I have stayed away from it, and it's a personal decision. But when I take an oath, when I raise my hand to take an oath as an elected official, do I take an oath to uphold Arkansas law and the Arkansas Constitution, and that's it? That's a question.
Oh, no, I would think not.
No.
Yeah.
No, federal and Arkansas. You take an oath to uphold federal and Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I know something is a felony under federal law, and the supremacy clause of the federal Constitution makes federal law, when it's in conflict, when it makes it superior or ruling, then I felt like this was something I couldn't engage in.
Yeah.
So that's I just that, but that's at the core of it. We're not doing this with rice. We're not doing this with other things because of those are not prohibited under So my point is, if anything, no matter which side you're on, for medical marijuana, against medical marijuana, the federal system is going to have to be the ones to change ultimately.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there aren't states who, such as ours and others, who won't have a blind eye turned to them, and the feds will, sort of ignore the law for a while. But remember, this is something we criticized Obama about. So I'm trying to be consistent. And we criticize, and I don't mean the marijuana. I mean we criticized Obama for picking and choosing which laws to apply. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this law's on the books on immigration, but I don't like it, so I'll ignore it. If you'll remember, I think that the Obama administration said, we don't really like the marriage act that Clinton had signed into law, so we're not going to defend that. This we will defend, that we won't defend. Remember, we sort of said, a lot of conservatives said, hey, rule of law.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the books. It's the law. If you don't like it, that's cool. Just get it off the books, right?
Yeah.
Don't pick and choose, because that erodes the rule of law. Actually, Trey Gowdy gave a great speech on this when he came down, I don't know, about a year or so ago. He said, pick the issue. It's not about whether you're for it or against it. It's about letting executives, elected officials, make exceptions because they don't like the law. Well, you know what? Executives don't have that right to ignore the law. The legislature makes the law, and executives are supposed to enforce the law. So when and I'm speaking about President Obama, so when President Obama was there, this was a criticism by conservatives. Hey, you can't pick and choose on what you're going to execute. The legislature has to decide that, right? So in this instance, the last Department of Justice, the last administration said, not real big on this law. We'll just let this slide. And that's what's gotten us here. That's what has gotten us here, is this idea that some laws we'll ignore, some laws will apply.
Yeah.
The damaging part of that, Paul, is that citizens need to be able to know. Laws need to be written in a way that citizens and what's being asked of them, right? It's like when someone says, "Look, if you'll just tell me what the rules are, then I'll abide by them." So number one is laws need to be written in a way where people know what's expected of them, and number two, they need to be applied consistently. And that is why when you pick and choose, and both Republicans and Democrats, I get it, over the years, there's hypocrisy on both sides, let's be honest. But ultimately, rule of law means if it's on the books and you don't like it, get it off the books.
Yeah.
Through the political process.
So,
right?
Yeah, we're talking with Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin. We're talking about this corrupt medical marijuana situation, how you license, how you don't. You've certainly raised some interesting points about how, look, until federal law changes, this is what it's going to be. I kind of take, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this.
No, I'm not. Well, I'm not. No. I'm not. Hang on. I'm not saying this is what it's going to be. I'm saying that's why we're in this position generally.
Right.
I'm not saying it can't be better. I'm not saying it should be better. The first thing I tell people is just know going in, this is risky. You invest $2 million or $1 million or whatever dollars in this. Unlike other businesses where you can see, business going down over time or whatever. In this business, overnight, you could lose all your money.
Yeah.
Because at some point, the Fed could just say, you know what, we're going to start enforcing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got banking regulation, potential banking regulation issues as well. Where did this money come from?
Well, it's not even regulated. It's against the law.
Yeah.
My understanding, to put illicit, what is considered illicit funds into federal banks. But it's sort of like this. Just because politicians have done something in the past doesn't mean it'll happen that way in the future. And here's what I mean. You can go, well, look, they haven't enforced it in the past. It's been 10 years. No president really enforces it. I'm going to invest all this money. Well, it's sort of like moving this may be a bad analogy, but it gets to the point. It's sort of like moving the embassy to Jerusalem. Right? If you were betting, well, every politician said we're going to do it, but no one ever did it. Boom, it gets moved. Uh-oh. I guess what politicians did in the past is not necessarily predicted.
Yeah.
Right? And so people that put a lot of money in this, you got to know that the feds at any time could say, we're gonna enforce the law. And I talked to a federal prosecutor not long ago, and I said, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all are still indicting people on marijuana charges. He goes, absolutely. So, in any event, that's just sort of, I'm not saying it ought to be this way. I'm not saying it can't be different. I'm sort of explaining why we're in this sort of deal.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of think, Tim, some of this is the people of Arkansas voted to have, if you read the amendment, they voted to have the state of Arkansas regulate marijuana. I don't think there was anything in there that was actually, we are in violation of federal law. We want to nullify, federal law. It was just kind of more like a,
right.
instruction from the people. For instance, in the past, you mentioned the Civil War earlier. We had laws like the Fugitive Slave Acts, and that required you to, return slaves, and yet you had northern states that specifically, acted out and said, you know what, we're not going to abide by that, and they through what is called its controversial process called nullification. But I don't even think Arkansas hasn't even really done that, because we didn't specifically articulate, we just had said we're going to ask the state of Arkansas.
Well, hang on. Our jurisprudence is way past that. Okay. Look, do you not remember the 101st Airborne Division coming in 1957 and saying, "Hey, Governor, you think you can do this? You can't do this.
Yeah.
It's illegal." I mean, we've been down this road before, and it's the wrong road. If you think that's an approach to, I mean, look, jurisprudence is well settled in the United States when it comes to conflicts between state and federal law. Period. Now, let me ask you this: what if you, not saying you would, maybe someone named Paul Harrell, but not you, decided, you know what? I'm a heroin addict.
A heroin addict? Is that what you said?
Heroin addict.
Okay.
Heroin addict. And I'm tired of getting it on the street. I'd like heroin to just be legal. So you get a ballot. Let's walk through this hypothetical. I'm not saying this is obviously an extreme example, but it makes the point. Heroin is a controlled, scheduled substance, just like marijuana. Obviously not the same. But under federal law, treated the same. Let's say you go and you get signatures, or maybe you convince the legislature to pass something or whatever. You get signatures, and you go and you say, okay, got all the signatures. I want to get this legalization of heroin on the ballot. And do you think anybody would put that on the ballot?
I don't think so.
No.
Talking about heroin. No.
Why?
Because
they'd say this is a federal crime.
Okay.
That's why. That's why. That's why they'd be like, I'm not going to put that on there. This. We can't do this. This is illegal, right? My point is, they're not the same, obviously, but under the law, they are treated the same in the sense that they are both controlled substances under federal law. Now, one is much different in the effects it has on the body and the uses, and one is culturally accepted in a way that the other's not. I get all that. My point is just to say that it doesn't change the law just because you decide to do it. You could pass. You could get a ballot initiative that said the people of Arkansas want to control where all the aircraft carriers go.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't make it. I mean, okay, you could pass that, but it would be prima facie on its face unconstitutional because the federal commander-in-chief is in charge of the United States Navy and the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
So my point is, just because you pass it doesn't mean that it rules the day legally. That's all.
Yeah.
Speaking as a former federal prosecutor, as an attorney, I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying whether we should control where aircraft carriers go or not. I'm saying it's an exercise in futility because it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
In any event.
Yeah, I know you got to go. We got to run too, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on, Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin, to talk about this situation that we face. And that it is a good reminder that at any moment the feds could quit ignoring the law. And so that's
just like on immigration and other things. I mean, people could say, last administration did this, but we're going to do it differently. But look, in terms of the allegations that were made last week while you were feet up on the beach, whatever, wherever you were on vacation, and we were all working.
Oh gosh,
I'm sweet. All I know about that is what I read in the paper. We'll see. We'll see what else we learn about that. But I understand. Let me just say this. I understand. My brother has an opioid issue because of a bad back surgery. I understand, not firsthand because it's not my back pain, but I understand the issue of wanting some kind of relief. My brother texts me sometimes 20 times a day talking about, the pain and whether it's a good day, whether it's a bad day. And I love him dearly. So I understand through his eyes the need for pain relief and all that. I totally get it. like to remind folks who are engaging in this business side, this is a risky deal. This is not consistent with federal law, and that's why this is such a convoluted issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because people are trying to have it, but at the same time, they can't let it be in the market, or they can't run it through the federal system because the federal system doesn't allow it.
Yeah.
So I just remind folks of that. But obviously, there's no excuse for a lot of the shenanigans that have been alleged anyway.
Yeah. The bribing. Yeah, exactly.
Of course not.
Yeah.
That's another federal crime.
Yeah, there we go. Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin, I appreciate it, sir. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you, man. Take care.
All righty, folks, we got to take a break. Back in a minute.